Asheville, North Carolina. A town cradled by the ancient arms of the Blue Ridge Mountains, where the fog kissed the earth each morning and the sunsets painted the sky in colors too beautiful to name. Life moved slow here, like the rivers that snaked through the valleys, and the townsfolk found comfort in the quiet predictability of it all. But for one family, life had changed in ways too sudden, too cruel. Thomas Reed had once been the kind of man you noticed, not because he demanded attention, but because he radiated it. Broad-shouldered, laughing easily, working hard from sunup to sundown. He had built houses with his bare hands, taught his children how to fish in the creeks, and told them stories under the stars about a time when dreams seemed within reach for everyone. But time, as always, demands its price. It began quietly. A sharp twinge in the knees after a long day. An ache that lingered longer than it should have. Doctors shrugged it off at first. Arthritis, they said, old injuries flaring up. But the pain grew. It crept up his legs like ivy, wrapping itself around his bones, tightening every time he dared to rest. Sitting was unbearable. Lying down. Torture. The only thing that offered a threadbare kind of mercy was walking. Endlessly, ceaselessly walking. At first, the family tried to adapt. Neighbors suggested fancy wheelchairs, therapy dogs, massages, holistic treatments. Church groups sent casseroles and prayers. But none of it touched the fire eating away at Thomas from the inside out. His wife, Margaret, did what she could. But she was growing frail herself, her own hands trembling with the slow decay of age. Their eldest children lived hours away, wrapped up in their own families, their own storms. They called often, promised visits that life kept postponing. But one stayed. One refused to leave. Michael. Just 24 when the nightmare began. A boy on the cusp of manhood, with dreams like city lights sparkling in the distance. A career waiting in Boston. A girl he loved enough to imagine futures with. Michael watched those dreams blur and fade like mist on the highway. He packed them carefully into the attic of his soul and locked the door. He had a new mission now. To walk with his father. To hold him up when the world pulled him down. To become the legs his father no longer had. Mornings began early, before the dew had lifted. Michael would help Thomas out of bed, carefully pulling him up, steadying him like a captain righting a battered ship. He would dress him, socks first, then loose pants, a soft flannel shirt. Shoes tied with double knots so they wouldn't slip loose on uneven ground. Then the walk began. Around the block, across the empty lot behind their house, past the diner where old men played cards by the window. Each step was a tiny rebellion against the body's betrayal. Thomas never spoke much during the walks. Neither did Michael. Their silence was its own kind of conversation, deeper than words. When Thomas stumbled, Michael caught him. When the old man leaned heavily, almost defeated, Michael never hesitated, lifting, bearing the weight without complaint. Autumn painted the trees gold and copper. Winter bit at their skin with icy teeth. Spring soaked them in sudden downpours. Summer left sweat clinging to their bodies, salt staining their shirts. The world moved forward. Friends got married. Babies were born. Jobs were offered and accepted. Dreams were chased and caught. Michael walked. Through birthdays missed. Through funerals he couldn't attend. Through Christmas mornings spent shuffling endlessly up and down silent streets. He became a ghost to the people he once loved. They stopped calling. Stopped asking. The world rewards those who move fast, not those who stand still beside the suffering. But Michael stayed. Rooted like an oak tree in the middle of a storm. Some nights, after Thomas fell into restless sleep, Michael would sit alone on the porch, guitar in his lap, calluses hardened from years of music now softened by years of caregiving. He would strum quietly, humming songs his father once sang. He remembered being 5 years old, sitting on Thomas's shoulders at a 4th of July parade, feeling 10 feet tall. He remembered fishing trips where his father let him catch the big one every time. He remembered the time Thomas drove 8 hours in the snow just to watch him play in a high school basketball game, even though he only played 5 minutes. Love, Michael realized, was not in grand gestures. It was in the 1,000 tiny sacrifices no one ever sees. By the 10th year, Thomas's steps had grown smaller. His voice, once booming and full of jokes, had withered to a whisper. Michael noticed how the old man's hands shook even more now, how sometimes he forgot simple things. His own address, Michael's age. But he never forgot the walks. Every day, he would look up at Michael with the same unspoken question. Are we walking today? And every day, without fail, Michael answered by holding out his hand. Come on, Dad. Let's go. It was a Sunday in late October. The trees were on fire with color, leaves swirling in lazy pirouettes across the sidewalks. Michael helped Thomas to his feet for what would be their last walk. They moved slower than ever before, each step a battle. Neighbors watched from their porches, some with tears glistening in their eyes. They understood now. Too late, perhaps. But they understood. They made it halfway down the block when Thomas stopped. He squeezed Michael's hand weakly. I'm tired, son, he said, his voice breaking like brittle glass. Michael nodded, fighting the lump rising in his throat. Then let's just stand here for a while, he whispered. And they did. Father and son, standing still in a world that never paused, sharing the weight of a love so profound that even death would think twice before breaking it. That night, Thomas passed away peacefully, with Michael sitting beside him, hand in hand. No cries. No rage. Just a fierce, aching kind of gratitude. Michael had given his father the one gift most never receive. A journey without loneliness. If you ever find yourself wandering the quiet streets of Asheville on a crisp October evening, you might feel a strange warmth in the air, like a hand brushing yours, unseen but strong. You might hear faint footsteps, steady and slow, beside your own. Maybe it's just the wind. Or maybe, it's the echo of a son's silent journey, still walking beside the ones he loved, forever.